Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kechelle, and today we are going to be discussing the mid-year book freakout tag. Today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Dun, 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 dun. So in this video, I'm also going to be including the books that I read last year, starting around October. There are a few stragglers that I have and I read back in like June or July, and I won't ever get a chance to talk about them again, so I'm going to talk about them in this video. I hope y'all are okay with that. From my understanding, there are two creators who came up with this tag a few years ago, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, that I had no idea about. I'm not gonna lie, there's so many people doing this video and this tag that I had no idea who the original creators were. So I am gonna link them down below, leave their names here and here so y'all know who created this wonderful tag. And I just think it is really fun. Besides the videos where everyone lists their absolute worst books of the year, this is probably one of my favorite videos. Don't ask me why I love to see people hate on books. That is actually not productive, but it can be fun. Now, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the questions. The first question I'm actually going to include from Kayla over at Books and Lala. She just released her video. I believe it was yesterday. When you guys are seeing this, today is July 1st when I'm recording it. Hopefully that's when you see it as well. So when I watched Kayla's video, and she actually included a question of just, how is your reading going overall? Overall, my reading is going okay. I've started reading some new genres. Of course, there's a whole genre that I'm into now, the mystery thriller genre. I used to be a romance girly years and years ago, and I'm actually a bujo girly. If you don't know what that is a bullet journal. I'm a bullet journal girl. That's how I started my YouTube channel, but I've had a rocky 12 months. More like 24 months. It's been rocky, okay? And my journaling has become very private. I have not been doing that, so I decided to pivot just a little bit and start making some BookTube content. And I started to do that because as I was traveling last year, I started listening to a mystery thriller by Geneva Rose. We're not going to talk about her too much, okay? Okay, we're not gonna talk about her too much, but that got me into the whole mystery thriller genre. So to answer the question of how my reading is going so far, my average rating for this year, again, including those books a little bit from last year, is like a 3.12, which I think is great. It could be so much worse. I also have DNF'd about 13 books in that time, and I did not include a rating for those because I did not rate them. I didn't finish them, so I didn't rate them. I didn't think it was fair to give them a rating because I didn't finish them. Some of them were a soft DNF. Some of them were absolute no, I'm not coming back to this ever again, and maybe I'll do a video on that later. But overall, it's been going good. The next question is the best book that I read in 2024. Also including, I don't have to keep saying this. This is my last time saying this. This is my last time saying this, but also including some of the books I read last year in 2023. I read Lock In by John Scalzi. And I also want to preface this by saying, these are all the books I have from the library. There's one book that I own. This is my personal book right here. This is a devotional. Everything else is from the library because I don't buy a lot of books. I would hate to buy a book that I don't like and then try to get rid of it. Or just, this is not my job right now, so I don't feel compelled to buy books. My library is really good at getting books right when they're released or very soon after, so I don't feel compelled to buy books. There are also so many ways I can get books electronically on Audible or through Kindle or Kindle Unlimited, so I do not buy a lot of books. Like I said, the books I do buy are books that I know I'm going to write in, which are like devotionals. All of my books are packed up. We've put the house on the market. Like I said, it's been a rough 12 months. We've put the house on the market, so I packed up all of my books. So just so that my room is a lot less cluttered. And I know what y'all are thinking. Books are not cluttered. They're not. And I'm not calling them clutter. But if you add the books on top of the paintings, on top of the art supplies, on top of the hair supplies, girl, it's a lot going on. You know what I mean? So I packed up all of my personal books. They're not here with us right now, but even if I had them out, I haven't bought a lot this year. I'm rambling. The point is, the books that I'm going to mention I may or may not have them. Okay, so best books that I've read so far in 2024. John Scalzi has been one of the authors that I've been gravitating towards because I'm getting into sci-fi. So Lock In by John Scalzi is a really good book that I've gotten into. It's a sci-fi mystery crime type novel where we follow a new detective who is under the belt of a veteran detective, and they are trying to figure out why these entities are dying. Not too long from today, a newly highly contagious disease causes some patients to have symptoms that are not unlike the flu. They're not very life-threatening, but for some patients, it does cause them to have what they call lock-in, where the brain is completely active, but the body is not. So they are locked in to their mind. And in this world, some of these patients can transport their consciousness to an android like robots, like a Threep. If you are familiar with, is it Star Wars or Star Trek? Y'all, I am not familiar with this genre, so I'm so sorry if I'm, so it's like an android type that they can transport their consciousness into, and some of them can actually transport their consciousness into other people. And there are some people who are able to allow those patients to have their consciousness in their mind and allow those patients to use their bodies to just go about their everyday life or do some things that they miss doing since they are locked into their mind and they can't move their own bodies. So in this world, we have someone who was a transport who was killed, and they're trying to figure out, like, okay, was somebody riding his body as a locked in patient, or was he killed for something that he actually did himself? It was a very interesting novel. I had a good time with it. The world is very well crafted. The person we're following is a lock-in themselves. They're actually very famous for it. So it was really good. I really, really enjoyed that book. Next is a book that I actually read, I believe, in December of last year, and it is called Perfectly Nice Neighbors by Kia Abdullah. I believe is how you pronounce her name. Perfectly Nice Neighbors is about this Indian family who moves into a mostly white suburban neighborhood in the UK. I believe it's London. And they decide to post a Black Lives Matter sign in their yard, and things snowball from there. It gets out of control from there. There are some neighbors who do not like the sign. There are some neighbors who find it to be aggressive, unwanted, unwarranted, and it literally snowballs from there. I had a great time. I rated it about 5 stars, I do believe. Next is The Thing About Home by Rhonda McKnight. This is also a book I read last year, probably around November, and it is about this social media influencer who is about to get married, and her whole content, all of her content and her page is dedicated to her wedding and her vows and just the bliss of being married. She's also like super beautiful. She has content on makeup and things like that. And her fiance leaves her at the altar. So after that big hullabaloo and the embarrassment, she has a very unsavory video that goes viral on the internet, and she decides to disconnect and move back home, I believe to Virginia, where her roots are from, on her dad's side of the family. It is so heartwarming, so heartfelt, and it's just beautiful. I loved it. The next question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far this year? I've read a few sequels. I started the Stillhouse Lake series last year. I haven't liked those sequels as much as I liked Head On by John Scalzi. This is the second book to the book that I mentioned, and we're in the same world of these patients who are locked in. Our detectives from book 1 are back and they're on the case, and I had a great time. The next question says, what is your favorite reread? I have not reread a book so far yet. The next question says, what is a new release you haven't read but you want to? And I have a few, okay? Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. Obviously, if you don't know what it's about, I don't even really know what it's about. I just know that one night this young boy and his friend go camping and something happens to his friend he's never seen again, and the other boy grows up. He's a grown man now. He comes back to the city where it all happens, and now I think he wants to unravel the mystery of what happened to his friend. But I am on the fence about this one, but I do want to read it. I do have this one because I'm going to be reading this one hopefully for Summerween, hosted by Gabby Reeds, and I think it's one more person who hosts that. I'm sorry. But One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole is, it's about this girl named Kenitria who has a dissociative identity disorder. And she has moved to like an isolated place for some reason or another. I don't really know too much else about this book, but I'm excited to read it. The next one is James by Percival Everett. I did read the synopsis. I just don't remember what it's about. I just want y'all to know. I did read it. I just don't remember. Okay, so the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I only have 2 written down. So the first one is Children of Anguish and Anarchy, which is the 3rd book in the Children of Orsha series. I read book 1 long time ago. I read book 2 probably last year or the year before. And I gave book 1, Children of Blood and Bone, I gave that book, I believe, like a 4 stars. The second book, the plot was a little, I was just unconvinced by what they thought was going to happen. The next book I'm excited to read is Echo by Tracy Clark, which is in the Detective Foster series. This is about a detective who is living in Chicago. I'm getting the first 2 books mixed up. The point is, it's really about Detective Foster and the cases that she's covering. I like Detective Foster. She's been through some things. She has lost a son due to gun violence, and we are able to see her growth and her struggles through these books. The next question is the biggest disappointment. Oh, and do I have disappointments? I don't know which one to start with. Actually, yes, I do. We're going to start with The Teacher by Frida McFadden, because why did you write that? And then Brianna, why did you think it was going to go any other way? I am really I'm upset with myself because I didn't see this coming. And if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not read the book and you've read a lot of mystery and thriller, you probably know where it's going. So I do not appreciate stories like this. I really don't. I should have DNF'd it, and we'll leave it there. The next one is All the Little Raindrops by Mia Sheridan. All the Little Raindrops, it just, you can feel the trauma and the torture and all of it that's happening. And then it had the nerve to want to be a romance book as well. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan. Pick one or the other. And then it had the nerve to have my worst. I hate this romance trope. And I wish I could tell y'all. Maybe I will at some point, but it is actually a spoiler. So when it happened, I was like, are you flipping kidding me? This is the worst romance trope ever. I hate that trope. There is no reason for this trope in the 21st century. It's just not. There is just not. It's not. So whatever. I didn't like that book. Those are my biggest disappointments of 2024. Woo! Glad I got that off my chest. Oh, another book. My most anticipated read for the second half of the year. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Out of Office by A.H. Cunningham. Kind of excited to read this one as well. Womb City by, I'm not sure what this author's name is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. But this one is a sci-fi mystery type of book, and excited about this one too. My biggest surprise was A Tall Dark Trouble by Vanessa Montalban. So A Tall Dark Trouble is about this team of sisters who have magical powers, and it is set in Mexico and also in Miami, Florida. There's a dual timeline between a young girl in Mexico who is getting into her powers and learning about her powers in Mexico, and also these two sisters. I don't believe they're twins. I think they're just close in age. They could be twins, I don't remember. But they're close in age, and they have, one of them has the power to be able to taste feelings. Like when people have feelings, she can taste it. And another one, when she touches something, she can find the history of that object or some type of sentimental memory connected to that object or person. So there is a mystery surrounding the death of somebody close to them, and they're trying to use their powers without their mom knowing. But they're trying to hide it from their mom, but they're also trying to learn how they can use their powers to find the answer to this mystery. It was really cute. I read this in November around Thanksgiving, where I had my family in town, and it just really made me feel the connection of family, and it was so cute. It also had some hints of romance in it. Both girls had their own romantic interests. It didn't overshadow the original plot. This was done well to me, where it was mystery and romance, where the romantic interests were helping the girls out or annoying them, but it also moved the plot along, and it was just so heartwarming and cute. And it was a surprise to me, because I don't read a lot of young adult magical realism fiction. I don't read a lot of magical realism, and I don't read a lot of young adult, so it was a big surprise to me that I loved it. Favorite new author. I obviously love John Scalzi, because I've talked about him twice. I also am liking Kia Abdullah. She wrote Perfectly Nice Neighbors, and she wrote Take It Back. Loved both of those two books, and I'm looking forward to something else or anything else that she writes in the future. I'm also enjoying Kennedy Ryan, not in a romance mood right now, but when I do read her books, they're what I'm asking for. Newest favorite character. I had to think back, because I read this book last year too. I had to think back on who my favorite character was. I had to think back on who my favorite character was, and that is Glory from Glory B by Danielle Arsenault. If you like a low stakes mystery thriller, especially Southern Louisiana, older Black woman who is not the nicest, you know what I mean? You know that grandmama who is just, she ain't the nicest, but you know she love you because she talk about you and she says you straight. That's Glory. And it was funny. She had some funny moments. That scene with the bees cracks me up. But yeah, she's one of my favorite characters. The next question is a book that made you cry. And I have not cried over a book yet, but these next two books did make me feel some things, okay? Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow. I read that last year, and if you have been watching my channel for the Bujo content, then you know that I did a whole video with the cover of my grandmother's house, or inspired by my grandma and granddad's house. Both of them have recently passed in the last 12 months. So that book was written and I read it. I read that book before they passed away, but even then it still made me feel some things, and obviously it's making me feel some things now. So a book that makes you happy. I've already talked about A Tall Dark Trouble by Vanessa Montalban and The Thing About Home by Rhonda McKnight. But another book that I didn't mention is Hanukkah Carries On. So Hanukkah Carries On was very heartwarming. It was cute. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was almost a 5-star. There was just one thing at the end that the father of the male main character said that just kind of made it like, you know, it was a trope, I guess. But it was cute, and it was really heartwarming, and it was nice. The next one is The Most Beautiful Book You've Bought or Received So Far. That is, well, I guess this one is really pretty. This devotional by Jackie Hill Perry. This is so cute. I have not finished this devotional yet because Jackie Hill Perry be slapping me in the face with some of these devotionals. Girl, I know I need to do better. I know. Okay. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh, this one, Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. A woman able to communicate with spirits must assemble a ragtag crew to pull off a daring heist to save her community in this timely and dazzling historical fantasy that weaves together African American folk magic, history, and romance. This sounds like what I wish the mayor of Maxwell Street was. Okay. The next one is Glow of the Everflame. I did read Spark of the Everflame last month. I will include that in my June wrap-up video. Hopefully you guys will see soon. And apparently the next 2 books in this series are way better than the first one, which is great. I gave the first book 3 stars, so I want to go ahead and read the rest of the series, and I'm excited about that. The next question says, your favorite video or post you've done so far? Let me tell y'all. So as y'all know, I'm a Bujo girly. Like I've said earlier, that means I did a lot of videos about bullet journaling. All of my videos, pretty much 90% of my videos are on bullet journaling. And I have done some spreads about the books that I've read. So you can go look at some of those if you like. I leave them up in the cards. If you are here just for books and you just want to know like what my thoughts about books are, I'll leave that up in the cards. But if you are interested in some of my art and some of the journals that I've created, please go ahead and take a look at those videos as well. But with that being said, the funniest thing that has happened to me, y'all, I borrowed Butcher and Blackbird from the library, and it started on page 18. I'm going to leave that clip somewhere, hopefully. I'm going to leave that clip right here, but that book literally started on page 18. So I still don't know what happened in the first 17 pages of Butcher and Blackbird. If you would like to let me know down in the comments, please let me know. Because by the time I started reading it, Butcher and Blackbird had already met each other. They were already at the cafe, you know, having a little kiki. I don't know how they met. That was the funniest post to me. And the last question is your favorite book community members. Obviously, I liked Kayla over at Books and Lala. I like Kenya over at Lily Reads and Aaron at Booked and Busy. But some of the ones that I've been watching a lot lately, Shelby in the Book Club, which I mentioned earlier, Lex Reads, Capri's Book Island. She does some 24-hour sprints that I find to be very entertaining. She does also talk about some romance, and she talks about a lot, actually. And Kayla's Bookish Vibes. She's pretty new over here on BookTube, but she's had a lot of success with her vlogs and she does this video where she like shops her shelves that I like. So yeah, those are the booktubers that I am watching. So that's the end of my 2024 mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.